The Vorthak Academy's grand hall erupted in a symphony of growls, chittering, and roars as Marcus Chen stepped through the reinforced doors. At barely 6 feet tall and weighing less than most of the Academy's juveniles, the human looked absurdly out of place among the galaxy's most feared predator species. Zexthul, a towering Kralian with razor-sharp chitin plating, leaned toward his companion. "Look at that pathetic creature," he hissed, mandibles clicking with amusement. "No claws, no fangs, no natural armor. What kind of joke is this?" Around them, other students shared the sentiment. The massive Ursoid twins Grak and Mach, each standing 9 feet tall with Bear's strength amplified tenfold, laughed so hard their deep rumbles shook the floor. Even the serpentine Sithrak coiled themselves tighter, their scales rippling with mirth at the sight of the seemingly defenseless biped. Commander Veltar, a scarred veteran Thanari whose species had conquered dozens of worlds through sheer predatory excellence, called for silence. Her 6 eyes fixed on Marcus with what could only be described as pity. "Cadets," she announced, her voice carrying the authority of countless battles. "This is your new classmate. The Terran Confederation has requested that we evaluate their species' potential for our elite warrior program." The laughter resumed louder than before. Marcus stood perfectly still, his hands clasped behind his back, face expressionless. He had expected this reaction. "Silence!" Veltar's roar cut through the mockery. "We will conduct the standard predator trials. Survival, hunting, and combat assessments will determine who belongs here and who becomes prey." Over the following days, Marcus endured constant ridicule. During physical conditioning, he couldn't match the Kralian's speed or the Ursoid's raw power. In weapons training, his reflexes seemed sluggish compared to the lightning-fast Sithrak. The other students took every opportunity to remind him of his inadequacy. "Hey, soft skin," Zexthul taunted during mealtime. "Maybe you should request transfer to the Herbivore Academy. I hear they have excellent programs for plant eaters." Marcus simply nodded politely and continued eating his ration pack, ignoring the renewed laughter. The first major test arrived on day 7, the survival trial. Each cadet would be dropped alone into the Kethamora Death Valley, a hostile environment designed to challenge even the most capable predators. They had 72 hours to reach the extraction point, using only basic supplies and their natural abilities. As the transport ship approached the drop zone, Veltar addressed the cadets. "Remember, this valley has claimed the lives of warriors from every major predator species. Only the strong survive." One by one, the cadets were dropped at random locations across the valley. Marcus landed last, his parachute carrying him into a rocky canyon where the temperature readings showed extreme fluctuations between scorching days and freezing nights. The other cadets had advantages Marcus lacked. Zexthul's chitin protected him from the razor-sharp crystal formations. The Ursoid twins' thick fur and fat layers insulated them against temperature extremes. The Sithrak could detect heat signatures and navigate in complete darkness. But Marcus had something they didn't understand: adaptability forged through millions of years of evolution on a death world where his ancestors had been both predator and prey. On the first night, while others struggled with the plummeting temperatures, Marcus constructed a shelter using techniques perfected by humans who had survived ice ages. He trapped small desert creatures using snares fashioned from his bootlaces, demonstrating the persistence hunting that had made humans apex predators on Earth. By day 2, the real test began. The valley's apex predator, a Morgul pack, had caught scent of the intruders. These creatures were pure nightmare fuel, 8-legged beasts with acidic saliva and pack-hunting intelligence that had evolved to kill anything that entered their territory. Zexthul encountered them first. His chitinous armor, so effective against environmental hazards, cracked under the Morgul's coordinated assault. His screams echoed across the valley before going silent. The Ursoid twins lasted longer, their massive strength allowing them to fight fiercely, but even they fell when the pack isolated and overwhelmed them. The Sithrak used their stealth and speed to avoid direct confrontation, but the Morgul were patient hunters. One by one, They were tracked down and eliminated. Marcus heard the distant sounds of battle and death, but he didn't run toward the extraction point like the few surviving cadets. Instead, he did something that would have horrified his instructors if they could have observed. He began hunting. The hunters. Using primitive weapons crafted from valley materials and tactics learned from studying human military history, Marcus turned the tables. He set traps, used the environment against his pursuers, and employed psychological warfare that confused creatures accustomed to straightforward predator-prey relationships. When the pack finally cornered him on the third day, Marcus had already eliminated half their number. The remaining Morgul found themselves facing something they had never encountered: prey that refused to act like prey. The final confrontation was witnessed by the extraction team's surveillance drones. Instead of the expected massacre, they recorded something unprecedented: a lone human armed with nothing but improvised weapons and inhuman determination, systematically dismantling a Morgul pack through superior tactics and unbreakable will. When Marcus emerged from the valley carrying Morgul trophies, Commander Veltar and the Academy staff waited in stunned silence. Of the 37 cadets who had entered the trial, only Marcus and 2 others had survived, and he was the only one who had actually thrived. "Cadet Chen," Veltar said, her voice heavy with newfound respect. "Perhaps we have been hasty in our assessment." Marcus looked up at the towering commander, his clothes torn and stained with alien blood, his eyes holding depths that spoke of humanity's true nature. "With respect, Commander," he replied quietly, "you never asked the right question. You wondered if humans could be predators. You should have asked whether you could survive being our prey. The Academy never laughed at humans again.